Afternoon baseball action from Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, and the stadium nicknamed the Launching Pad lived up to its name as both teams banged out a combined 8 home runs on the day. Here in the top of the third inning with Atlanta up by a score of 2-1, Tim Wallach bangs out a grand slam to dead center field. Number 15 for Wallach, career number 5 in the grand slam department for Wallach. RBIs number 58, 59, 60, and 61 as Nixon, Grissom, and Raines all score, giving the Expos a 5-2 lead. Then the bottom of the fifth with the Expos up 5-3. That's Jimmy Kremers with his first Major League home run off the right field foul pole. Dale Murphy scores, and the game is tied up at 5 apiece. In the top of the sixth inning, Andres Galarraga comes up, and he smacks a 3-run home run to dead center field. For Galarraga, it's home run number 7, as Wallach and Fitzgerald both score. RBIs number 42, 43, and 44, and the Expos open up an 8-5 lead. Then the top of the seventh inning with the Expos up now by a score of 10-8. Mike Fitzgerald adds another home run, a solo shot to dead center field. For Fitzgerald, it's home run number 6, RBI number 24, and the Expos open up an 11-8 lead. There were 3 ties in this ball game. The Braves led this one twice, and the Expos led this one 3 times. Here in the bottom of the seventh inning, this game will be tied up once again as Jeff Treadway smacks a 3-run home run to right field. Number 10 for Treadway, RBIs number 41, 42, and 43 as McDowell and Lonnie Smith score. The game is tied up at 11 apiece. Then still in the bottom of the seventh inning, Jim Presley comes up and smacks a solo home run off reliever Dale Mahorsic. Number 12 for Presley, RBI number 46, and Atlanta regains the lead at 12-11. Still in the bottom of the seventh inning, Dave Justice comes up and he will smack a solo home run to right field. Number 6 for Justice, RBI number 23, and the Braves open up a 13-11 lead. In the top of the eighth inning, the Expos tied up when Tim Raines singles home Spike Owen and Otis Nixon. Then the top of the ninth inning, Andres Galarraga singles to center field, driving home Fitzgerald to give Montreal a 14-13 lead. They never relinquish that lead as the Expos hang on to win it by a score of 16-14. Steve Fry with the win, his record now 4-1. Kent Merker takes the loss, his record drops to 2-1. Dave Schmidt his 13th save as 11 pitchers were used this afternoon in Atlanta.
In Cincinnati, the Montreal Expos in town for the beginning of a 3-game series is to take on the Reds. Grounded by Tim Raines in the top of the first inning gave the Expos a 1-0 lead. Then the top of the second, the Expos increased the lead when Larry Walker connected for a solo home run right field off Red starter Chris Hammond, who made his Major League debut in the game. It was Walker's 11th home run, 2-0 Expos. Then the top of the third, the Expos increased their lead when Tim Raines lined a single to left field, then knocked in Delano the Shields. RBI number 29 for Raines, the second in the game. Montreal led 3-0 in the third. But in the bottom of the sixth inning, the Reds took the lead with one quick swing of the bat. A grand slam home run by Eric Davis, a line drive shot to left field off of Zane Smith. It was Davis' 12th home run this season, his 5th career grand slam, and now it's 42 RBIs, and the Reds led 4-3 in the bottom of the sixth. In the bottom of the seventh inning, they increased the lead to 7-3. First, a solo home run by Joe Oliver to deep left field, his 6th home run and 32nd RBI, and the score was 5-3 Cincinnati. Then, with 2 outs in the inning, Barry Larkin came up and he belted a 2-run homer to left field. His 5th of the season, RBIs 40 and 41 as Billy Hatcher scored on the home run, and the Reds led 7-3 in the bottom of the 7th. Then in the bottom of the 8th, Chris Sabo added a little more insurance with a solo home run to left center field off Drew Hall. It was Sabo's 17th home run this season, and the Reds led 8-3. That was the final. Tim Leon got the win for the Reds in relief. He's 4-0. Zane Smith got the loss for the Expos. He drops to 5-6.
In Cincinnati, the Reds are hosting the Montreal Expos. Pitcher Danny Jackson experienced tightness in his left shoulder while he was warming up, and he was scratched from tonight's start against the Expos. Scott Scudder started in place of the injured Jackson. In the top of the first inning with 1 out, Dave Martinez greets Scudder with his 7th home run of the season, a shot to right field to put Montreal up 1-0. RBI number 22 on the season for Dave Martinez. But in the bottom of the first inning, the Reds come through with 3 runs. With nobody out here, Paul O'Neill will hit a line drive single to center field off Mark Gartner, who has won 3 of his last 5 starts. Kevin Hatcher scores to tie the game up at 1 apiece. RBI number 47 on the season for O'Neill, and 2 sacrifice flies put the Reds up 3-1. In the top of the fourth inning with one out, Andres Galarraga pulls the Expos within 1 run of the Reds with his 8th home run of the season, a solo shot to left center field, and it's 3-2 Cincinnati. RBI number 46 on the year for Galarraga. In the bottom of the fourth, Mariano Duncan leads off the inning for the Reds with his 7th home run of the season, a shot to left center field that puts Cincinnati up 4-2. RBI number 27 on the season for Duncan. We move now to the top of the sixth. Scott Scudder struck out a career-high 9 6 1/3 innings. Here he'll get Larry Walker for his 9th strikeout of the game. Scudder improved to 2-2 as he made the impromptu start for Danny Jackson. In the bottom of the seventh, we'll see Tim Raines as he makes the great catch into the wall on O'Neill's fly ball to left field. But the Reds go on to win 6-2. Gardner takes the loss. He falls to 6-5. Cincinnati moves 24 games over 500 for the first time since 1981.
Wednesday evening from Cincinnati, Lou Piniella and the Reds took on the Montreal Expos. In the top of the third inning with no score, Chris Sabo with the great catch snagged Dennis Martinez's high line drive through to second base for the 5-4 double play. Nice play by Chris Sabo. Here's another look at that great catch by Sabo as he threw to Ron Oster to complete the double play to end the top of the third inning. In the bottom of the fourth inning, Reds got on the board first when first baseman Hal Morris chopped a infield single to third base. No play. Chris Sabo scored in the play. RBI 15 for Morris, 1-0 Reds. Bases loaded, walk made, score 2-0. Then the top of the sixth, Otis Nixon with the check swing ground ball. Spike Owens scored as Hal Morris bounced the throw, 2-1 Cincinnati. Then a 2-run home by Andres Galarraga made the score 3-2 Montreal in the top of the sixth inning. In the bottom of the sixth inning, home plate umpire Jerry Crawford tossed Reds manager Lou Piniella as they were discussing a hits batsman, the second hits batsman for the Reds. Quite an argument had to be broken up by third base umpire Doug Harvey. Later in the sixth, the Reds took the lead when Joe Oliver grounded a single right field that knocked in Eric Davis and Hal Morris, and the Reds led 4-3 in the bottom of the sixth inning. In the bottom of the eighth inning, the Reds increased their lead on a sac fly. Still in the bottom of the eighth inning, relief pitcher Randy Mars making a rare at-bat, and he came up with a ground ball single left field off reliever Tim Burke. This knocked in Hal Mars, and the Reds led 6-3. Then a Chris Sabo single made the score 7-3. The Reds looked okay until 2 outs, 2 strikes in the top of the ninth inning. Bases loaded for Andres Galarraga, and he connected for his second home run of the game, a grand slam home run. And suddenly the game was tied at 7 in the top of the ninth inning. It was Galarraga's 10th home run of the season, and a big smile for the Big Cat as he had 2 home runs and a career-high 6 RBIs in the game. The game went into extra innings, and in the bottom 11th inning, the Reds won the game with 2 outs. Barry Larkin tripled. Then Paul O'Neill singled over third base, knocking in Larkin for the game's winning run. The Reds won 8-7 in 11 innings. They swept the 3-game series from the Expos. Rick Maley got the win, he's 4-3, and Dave Schmidt got the loss, he's 3-2.
In Houston, Art Howe and the Astros are hosting the Montreal Expos. In the bottom of the first inning, Glenn Wilson will walk with the bases loaded. It's the third walk of the game by Kevin Gross. Eric Gelding scores, and that puts Houston up 1-0. Wilson's 34th RBI of the season. Gross will give up another walk that puts Houston up 2-0, and Craig Biggio's ground out makes it 3-0 Houston. Gross only lasting 2/3 of an inning. In the bottom of the second inning, Bill Doran and Javier Ortiz on second and third base. Here with 2 outs, Wilson with the double to left center field. Off Drew Hall, Doran and Ortiz score. It's 6-0 Astros. RBIs 35 and 36 for Wilson. Still in the bottom of the second, Rich Redmond with a ground ball single to center field. Ken Caminetti and Craig Biggio score to make it 8-0 Houston. Houston sent 9 batters up in the bottom of the first and 10 in the bottom of the second. Still in the bottom of the second, Danny Darwin with his first hit of the year. He makes it a big one, a triple off the right field wall over Larry Walker's head. Gedman scores to make it 9-0 Astros. Darwin's first RBI of the season. Danny Darwin pitched 7 shutout innings. He struck out 5 and is 2-0 with a 1.03 earned run average and 4 starts since being inserted into the rotation. There in the top of the fourth, he strikes out Larry Walker. Move now to the bottom of the eighth inning. Montreal's second baseman Dave Martinez pitching. He gives up 2 runs in 1/3 of an inning. You see him warming up on the mound, and with 1 out, he'll give up a double to Ken Caminetti. Caminetti doubling to left field. Terry Poole will score, and that makes it 11-0 Houston. Still in the bottom of the eighth, there'll be a pitching change for the Expos. Junior Noboa will take the mound now. He removes the wraps from his wrist as he takes the ball from Dave Martinez. Noboa walked one batter in his 2/3 of an inning stint. So still in the bottom of the 8th. The Astros go up 12-0 as Noboa will walk Alex Trevino with the bases loaded. Glenn Wilson comes in to score. It's 12-0 Houston. Still in the bottom of the 8th. Jim Clancy will ground out into a double play to end the inning. Junior Noboa running off, smiling, tips his cap, and he gets some congratulatory comments from his teammates in the dugout. Moved out to the top of the 9th inning with one out. It's 12-3 Houston now. Delino DeShields will triple to the left center field gap. Goff, Noboa, and Foley all scoring to make it 12-6 Houston. That'll be the final. DeShields bringing his RBI total to 25. The winning pitcher is Danny Darwin. He's 4-1. Kevin Gross takes the loss. He's 8-6, 12-6 Houston over the Montreal Expos.
Friday night in Houston, Art Howe and the Houston Astros host the Montreal Expos, and in the top of the first inning, that smile was wiped off of Howe's face as center fielder Craig Biggio misplayed the line drive of Dave Martinez. He turned it into a 3-base error that scored Delino DeShields, making the score 1-0 Montreal. Martinez later scored on a sacrifice fly, so Montreal had 2 runs without benefit of a hit. In the bottom of the second inning, Biggio tried to make amends as he hit a single to left center field that scored Wilson, making it 2-1 Montreal. Still in the bottom of the second inning, Franklin Stubbs hits a ground ball down to the second baseman, who flips to Zane Smith, but the run comes in to score. Caminiti scores, making it 2-2. Mark Portugal had only allowed 2 hits in 6 1/3 innings pitched, although he had allowed the 2 unearned runs. Here in the 7th inning, he strikes out Larry Walker, but later in the inning, Portugal pulled a muscle in his rib cage and had to leave the game. Then in the top of the 8th inning, with Juan Augusto in relief, Tim Raines hit a single to right center field. That scored Nixon, making the score 3-2 Montreal in the 8th. Tim Burke pitched 2 scoreless innings in relief to pick up his first save since May 27th. Here in the bottom of the 9th, he strikes out Franklin Stubbs for the second out of the inning, and then we'll see him getting Ken Oberkfell to ground out to second base to end the game. The final was 3-2 Montreal. The winner, Smith, is 6-7. The loser, Augusto, is 4-4, while Burke picks up his 12th save. Rogers and the Montreal Expos are in town to play the Astros. In the top of the first inning, the Expos get on the board first as Tim Raines lines a triple into the right field corner. This will score Dave Martinez on the hit and run play, and that makes the score 1-0 Montreal. That's the 32nd RBI of the season for Raines. Then in the top of the second inning, shortstop Eric Yelding of the Astros makes a nice backhand play on the one hopper by Andres Galarraga, and then the strong throw to get Galarraga 6-3. In the bottom of the second inning, the Astros tied the game up as Glenn Wilson hit a ground ball double into the left field corner that scored Ken Caminiti, and it tied the game up at 1. That's the 37th RBI of the season for Wilson. In the top of the third inning, Montreal retook that 1-run lead as Dave Martinez hit a solo home run deep to right field. This is his 8th home run of the season, and that ties a career high for him. So Mark Gardner was working with a 2-1 lead. Here we see him in the bottom of the 4th inning, picking up his 3rd strikeout of the game as he gets Javier Ortiz swinging. But the Expos ran into some trouble in the bottom of the 7th inning, and Craig Biggio hit a single to center field that scored Ken Caminiti and tied the game up at 2. Then in the bottom of the 8th inning, in a surprise move, Franklin Stubbs had a bunt single that scored Eric Yelding from third base, making it 3-2 Houston after 8. 3-2 turned out to be the final score as Dave Smith came in and pitched the 9th inning. He struck out the side. Here he gets Spike Owen to end it. The winning pitcher in the game was Augusto. He's 5-4. The loser, Dave Schmidt, is 3-3, while Dave Smith picks up his 18th.
The Pittsburgh Pirates take stab at the Montreal Expos on Friday night. 2 men on and 2 outs in the top of the first inning for the Pirates, but Dennis Martinez will strike out Barry Bonds to end the inning and end the threat. Move now to the bottom of the first inning. Tim Wallach up for the Montreal Expos with 2 men on and 1 out. He'll hit a 2-run base hit to left field off of John Smiley. Marquise Grissom and Otis Nixon score RBI 64 and 65. Smiley blocked in another run, and it's 3-0 Expos after 1. Fan tries to trumpet up some support, and in the bottom of the third inning, Tim Wallach will trumpet up a home run off of Smiley, a solo shot to center field. His 17th of the year, RBI 66 for Tim Wallach, is driven in 3 of the 4 Expos runs, and it's 4-0 Montreal. Dennis Martinez is cruising right along, strikes out Bobby Bonilla with a man on second base, and 2 out in the top of the 6th inning, and it's still 4-0 Montreal after 6 innings. In the bottom of the 7th inning, Tim Wallach will continue the two-man assault on the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's a line drive base hit to center field. Grissom would score. RBI 67 for Wallach, his 4th RBI of the ball game. Tim Raines will be out going to third base, but Grissom scores, and that gave Montreal a 5-0 lead over the Pittsburgh Pirates. Top of the 9th inning, Dennis Martinez will close out the ball game, striking out Barry Bonds, looking at a called third strike. His 8th strikeout on the night. Montreal wins by a final score of 5-0. Dennis Martinez, the winner, he's 7-7, recording his 18th career complete game shutout, while John Smiley is the loser. He drops to 4-5 on the year. Once again, the Montreal Expos defeat the Pittsburgh Pirates by a final score of 5-0.
Olympic Stadium, Montreal, Canada. Chicago visiting the Montreal Expos. Expos winning in extra innings, 3-2. In the bottom of the 6th inning, Cubs leading 2-0. Marquise Grissom with this bloop single into center field. It's misplayed by Marvell Wynn. Delino DeShields scores. Cubs lead it 2-1. 14th RBI of the season for Marquise Grissom. Still in the bottom of the 6th inning, Tim Raines at the plate. Marquise Grissom on second base. Raines would bloop this double down the line in left field. Marquise Grissom would come in to score from second base, tying the game at 2 apiece. That's RBI number 34 for Tim Raines. The game would remain tied going into the 10th inning. In the 10th inning, Delino DeShields on third, representing the winning run. Tim Raines at the plate. On the mound for the Cubs, reliever Mitch Williams. Raines would single off the wall in left field. Delino DeShields would score the winning run. RBI number 35 for Tim Raines, as the Expos win it in extra innings over the Cubs, 4-3. Mitch Williams takes the loss. He's 1-6. Tim Burt got the win for the Expos. His record goes to 1-1.
Saturday night in Montreal, Buck Rogers and the Expos are hosting the Chicago Cubs. In the bottom of the 1st inning with 2 outs, Tim Raines will put Montreal on top 1-0 with his 3rd home run of the season, a solo shot to right field off Mike Bilecki. It's 1-0 Expos. RBI number 36 on the season for Raines. In the bottom of the 2nd inning with 2 outs, Delino DeShields will double to right field. Mike Fitzgerald scores to put Montreal up 3-0. His 19th RBI of the season as he goes into second base just ahead of Andre Dawson's throw. That was all from Mike Bilecki in this one, as he lasted only 1 2/3 of an inning. In the top of the 4th inning with 2 outs, with Andre Dawson on second base on DeShields' throwing error, Dave Clark will single to center field, bringing home Dawson, and it's 3-1 Expos. In the top of the 6th, the Cubs score 5 times. Luis Salazar's RBI single ties it up at 3 apiece. With 1 out and the bases loaded, Sean Dunston gets his 2nd triple of the game. A shot off the center field wall. Mark Grace, Dave Clark, and Luis Salazar all scoring, and it's 6-3 Cubs, as Dunston brings his RBI total to 50 on the season, and Joe Girardi's sacrifice fly put Chicago up 7-3. But in the bottom of the 6th, the Expos come back with 4 runs of their own. Runners on 1st and 3rd and nobody out. Mike Fitzgerald at the plate, and he'll single to center field. Andres Galarraga comes in to score, and it's now 7-4 Cubs, as Fitzgerald picks up his 25th RBI on the year. Still in the bottom of the 6th with 1 out, Delino DeShields will make it 7-6 Cubs as he lines a double to center field. That brings home Fitzgerald. 7-6 Chicago on DeShields' 20th RBI of the season. Marquise Grissom's RBI groundout tied this game up at 7 apiece. The Cubs would win this one in the top of the 9th with 2 outs, runners on 1st and 2nd. Luis Salazar's ground ball to DeShields, and he bobbles the ball. That allows Ryan Sandberg to score from second base, and the Cubs go up 8-7. Sean Dunston tied a major league record in this game with 3 triples. He tied the record for triples last accomplished by Craig Reynolds of Houston on May 16, 1981. Here he gets his 3rd triple of the game. Marvell Wynn and Luis Salazar scoring, and that makes it 10-7 Cubs. That'll be the final score. Bill Long, the winning pitcher, is 4-0. Tim Burke takes the loss. He falls to 1-2.
The roof opened in Montreal on Sunday afternoon, but that didn't help the Expos as they lost 2-1 to the Chicago Cubs. In the top of the 1st inning, Dwight Smith walked, stole second, and came around to score on this RBI single by Mark Grace's 36th RBI on the year. Mike Harkey pitched a fine ball game for the Cubs as he went 7 1/3 innings, striking out 5 batters. He allowed only 1 run. There he strikes out Delino DeShields in the bottom of the 1st inning. As the game wore on, the shadows moved between the pitchers and the batters. That made it tough for the hitters, but the pitchers had no problem as Kevin Gross went 7 innings, allowing only 3 hits, but he took the loss in this game. There he strikes out Dave Clark in the top of the 4th inning. Between innings in Montreal, they have the lambada dance going on top of the dugout. Lots of interested spectators in the first row. In the top of the 7th inning, Shawan Dunston would pick up an RBI. It's 53rd on the year with a sacrifice fly to score Dave Clark from third base. That would be all the runs the Cubs would need on this day, as despite the dirty dancing, the Expos just couldn't seem to get anything going. As Don Zimmer's Cubs take 3 out of 4 in the weekend series with the Expos. In the bottom of the 7th inning, Harkey surrendered this triple to Tim Wallach with 1 out. A great try by Doug DeCenzo out in right center field, but it falls out of his glove. Wallach would go to third base on the triple, and he would come around to score the Expos' only run of the game with 1 out, as Andres Galarraga grounded out to Ryan Sandberg. On the 4-3 play, Wallach scored the Expos' only run. That made it 2-1, and that was the final score, as Mitch Williams got out of a jam in the 8th inning. Then in the 9th inning, he got Junior Noboa to fly out to end the game, picking up his 12th save on the year. He went an inning and 2/3 in relief. Mike Harkey got the win. He's 9-5. Kevin Gross allowed only 3 hits, but he gets the hard luck loss. His record is now.
And the Montreal Expos host the New York Mets in Tuesday night action. Pick it up in the bottom of the 1st inning. The Expos score 2 runs. Here, Marquise Grissom will line a triple to right center field. This coming off of Sid Fernandez. It would score Delino de Shields all the way from first base. Montreal led 1-0. Grissom would score later in the inning on a sacrifice fly. Montreal led 2-0 after 1 inning. The Mets picked up a run in the top of the 2nd, but in the bottom of the 2nd inning, Mike Fitzgerald, with the score 2-1, belted a solo home run to left center field, his 7th of the year. Montreal led 3-1. But the Expos weren't done in the 2nd inning. Delino de Shields would line a single to center field, scoring Dave Martinez and Spike Owen. Montreal led 5-1 after 2 innings. On this play, Greg Jeffries runs Delino de Shields back to first base, but no one covering for the Mets. But in the top of the 3rd inning, Greg Jeffries would get one back for the Mets. Here he'll belt a solo home run to right field, his 13th of the year. Montreal led 5-2 after 3 innings. But 2 runs would be all the Mets would get off of starter Oil Can Boyd of the Montreal Expos. Boyd went 6 innings, allowing 2 runs, 7 hits, and striking out 4 batters. Here in the top of the 6th inning, Tim Tuffle, representing the tying run, strikes out, leaving 2 men on base. The Expos led 5-2 in the middle of the 6th inning. Then in the bottom of the 6th inning, some excitement at Olympic Stadium. Andres Galarraga facing Julio Machado of the Mets. Galarraga will bloop a ball to left center field. Kevin McReynolds can't come up with it. Darrell Boston can't get it. It rolls to the left center field wall. Andres Galarraga chugs around third, and he'll score for an inside-the-park home run. His 12th home run of the year. Montreal led 6-2 after 6 innings. Moving to the top of the 9th inning, the Mets would get to within 7-4 of the Montreal Expos. Then with a tying run at the plate, Orlando Mercado would fly out to Tim Raines for the final out. Tim Burke gets the save, his 13th of the year. Montreal wins 7-4. Oil Can Boyd, the winner, 6-3. Sid Fernandez, the loser, 7-7.